What do you always feel awkward doing? Asking friends to pay you back. Edit, I have great friends. Most of the time they remember to even things out. And if they forget and I ask them to pay me back, they will. On the odd occasion that they forget though, I just feel uncomfortable asking, and most of the time, I don't. Walking out of a convenience store without buying anything. I got banned from a local convenience store for not buying anything. I occasionally bought myself a chocolate bar from the store on a Friday after school. I went in on a weekend with some friends, and decided not to buy anything. They felt because I usually bought one, I must have had one, but decided not to pay. They checked CCTV in my pockets etc. with me standing there, found nothing, so banned me. The typical socially awkward person doesn't feel comfortable in social situations. They are anxiety-producing. This is one of the main factors that often make them behave in weird ways around other people. Nervousness leads to a creepy demeanor, and realizing that your demeanor is creepy creates even more nervousness, so we have an ongoing negative cycle. Talking to haircutters. I will spend the entire drive plus the time waiting, creating a detailed plan for what I'm going to say. Then the dreaded question. So how do you want it cut? Shorter. Don't say anything to each other because I really don't want to talk. Nice to know I'm not the only person who feels this way. My cousin was talking about how he likes to get his hair cut every week if he has time. I was like, how the fuck can you stand to go through that shit every week? I always wait until my hair gets so long I can't stand it anymore between haircuts, usually 2 months. What they need is a menu with numbers like at fast food. I want to be able to say, just give me a number 1 which will correspond to the short on the sides and longer on the top. Use your judgment on exactly how short. I don't know what number fucking clippers to use. I don't know what the fuck layering or blending is. Just cut it in a way that looks presentable and not dated. Bonus points if you pick something that looks better with my head structure and hairline. But really just have at it and talk to one of your hairstylist co-workers, so it's less awkward when we walking behind a lady anywhere. As a man, I feel like she's thinking I'm about to kidnap her or something. I read this different. I thought you were going to say and then having to pass her on the sidewalk because she's walking too slow. I always feel like I'm being disrespectful for some unknown reason. Like I'm one of those young whippersnappers always in a rush because I walk fast and pass lots of people, even on narrow sidewalks. Seeing someone you haven't seen in a long time and running out of things to talk about within 30 seconds. Especially awkward when you forget their name and you're trying your best to cover your ass by pretending you know it. Or exactly where you knew them from, especially if they seem to know you right away. Was not anonymous, but indeed my friend Harvey. Fun story, back when MSN Messenger was still a thing, I had someone add me that I didn't know. Like I was sure they added me for a reason, it didn't seem like a spam account, but their username was just an email that I didn't recognize. I checked my email to see if it was someone I'd be in contact with, but nope, a search of my inbox turned up nothing. So I Google it, figure if I can at least find some sites this guy is on I can maybe piece together where I know him from. So I Google it and instantly click the first link. I don't recognize the site name, but it's like the top 5 or 10 results. First thing I see is a dude sitting in a chair, just grabbing his dick like he's mad at it. Like literally a huge angry frown and a grip that would put pro athletes to shame. I instantly closed it, but couldn't unsee the anonymous dick I'd just seen. Moments later I realized this dick. Holy fuck, this is undoubtedly going to get buried, but I've been waiting for a thread like this for a while. When you're walking with someone somewhere and they stop on the way to have a conversation with someone you don't know very well that could be private. Do you stay and just observe the conversation? Do you go on your phone for the duration? Do you walk a few paces forward? Do you just book it and forget it ever happened? Such an uncomfortable situation. I'm a server. Honestly, we don't care if you complain, as long as you're nice about it. I'll gladly fix your food if there was a mistake, but if you're a dick to me, I just want you to leave. Just be polite and a server is fine with it. It's part of our job that you enjoy the food you pay for. Opening gifts in front of people. I always feel like I'm not reacting enough, and they think I hate it, even if I really do like the gift. Yeah, I think Japan nailed this. I heard the custom over there is to open gifts in private after receiving them. It just makes so much more sense, especially when receiving multiple gifts at once at a party or something, so gifters don't feel bad if you react more to one gift than to another. Saying my own name out loud. For me it's hearing my husband say my name. He says my name like twice a year BC, it's always baby honey fragilita etc, so it's always so frickin' weird hearing him say it. Edit, so people are wondering why my husband calls me Little Bean. We have an ongoing joke that I call him my potato in an Irish accent, because he is of Irish descent, and he calls me Fragilita, because I'm Mexican. Just one of the many silly jokes we have together. At work the other day we had cupcakes for someone's birthday. He sat down and my manager was like, okay everyone sing. And we all paused and she said no one wants to sing. And we were like, no. And she was like, okay, guess we aren't singing for you, in a joking non-snarky manner. And the guy was like, that totally work for me. If only things always went like that. My job is to take phone calls. My bosses have this huge thing about not looking professional in between calls. I'm just thinking, why? You pay me to sit here and wait for phone calls. When there are none, why can't I read a book or watch YouTube? Worked at Xbox customer support. When I wasn't on a call or handling any incidents, I played with the console. When the bossman walked in, or the bossman's bossman, or they usually asked about the game and might have even joined in. Just had to make sure not to lose my shit. Edit, however, I guess playing with the Xbox would be the most professional thing to do in that environment. You wander into the restroom at work and there's a coworker taking a piss. Do you greet him? Do you pretend not to see him? What if it's a boss? Man, so many questions. If they make eye contact with you, a curt nod suffices, otherwise say nothing. If you are male, the rule is quite simple, no talking in the bathroom. Man rule number 1. If you were my employee, and you started talking to me when I'm trying to pee, I'd find a justifiable way to fire you. Ladies, I dunno. I guess Kurt Nods still works. Probably. Just remember, nobody else in the room gives a shit. We all hate doing this and wonder why we waste this much time when you will never remember the other names in the room. I also get the sweats, and have to remind myself that this is the most irrational fear I can have. Just do it and don't overthink it. Depends on the version of the song. It's the 4-verse version, then it's not so bad to sway and smile cheesily during the 10 seconds it takes to belt out the song. If they draw it out and turn it into a song and dance routine, hell yeah is it awkward to sit there. Crossing a street when a car is approaching. I always use the pedestrian crossing, but yet it feels super awkward when a car has to stop and I scurry across the street. I agree. And I always worry that one day they're just not going to stop. I always try to hurry even if I'm in the crosswalk, and my friends always ask why since I'm in the crosswalk. And I tell them it's because I was hit by a truck while crossing in a crosswalk, and people are just astounded that I got hit that way, like they're not a magical force field stopping the car right. I don't think I have ever done this. Like even if the order was messed up terribly, I just eat it. I don't want to make the cooks feel bad or ruin their day or anything. Maybe they're already having a shitty day and my complaint would ruin it even more. It's just not that big of a deal for me to say anything about it. In a crowded restaurant, when it's all the serving staff of the place. And they're way too enthusiastic. Trust me, the only enjoyment we get is your pain. I'm getting paid to do this and I've had to deal with grumpy customers for 3 hours, it's malicious and cruel and we want you to feel the evil people have been throwing at us. Enthusiastic cake presentation where the staff bursts out in song. The staff all leaves but one young waiter takes a different route that happens to lead right next to you, smiling as he does it. He leans over and whispers, "You're a little fucking bitch." Then he walks away leaving you to ponder why they would say that and if you should do something, but in the end you just sit there and think about what just transpired, but to your friends and family you're just being as distant as ever. You're never the same after that day, you no longer talk to your wife or play with your children because you're too preoccupied thinking why. Your wife leaves you and takes the kids, your boss fires you because you've spent too much time sitting at your desk researching the origins of the Happy Birthday song looking for any clues thinking it might have been a joke. You stay at your friend's house for a little while, but after a few weeks he kicks you out because he thinks you're a pedophile as all you've been doing is going to Chuck E. Cheese and taking down notes at kids' birthday parties. Now you're living on the streets scraping through the trash for something to eat. One day you see your family on the street and your wife tries to talk to you, but all you can manage to say is happy birthday to you over and over again. They try to run away but you're gaining on them. They manage to get away when you trip on an uneven piece of sidewalk. You go to the roof of your old office and decide to take your own life, and as you're falling you remember. Today is my birthday. Trying to walk while people are looking at me. It's like I turn into a baby deer. This right here. Whenever someone's behind me I can't walk properly no matter what. If I'm walking in a cube farm and people can't see my legs, I can focus on my upper body and think I'm doing okay. As soon as people can see my feet, I envision I'm Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and then everything goes to shit. I can't believe I can't fucking walk. And the reflection of the shop glass in malls. Horrendous. I don't say it. Not out of disrespect, I love our country. I respectfully stand at parade rest, fix my eyes on the flag and reflect on the greatness of our country and the sacrifice many men and women had to allow me to be in this moment. I just personally feel the whole Pledge of Allegiance is a bit strange. When I go to my gym, the cute girl behind the front desk will often wish me a good workout. I almost always fucking respond with "you too." Then it's a shameful walk to the locker room while I play the scenario over and over again in my head. Next time it happens, just straight up be like, "Oh Jesus, wow." Right in front of her. She'll know what happened and it will be hilarious. I find acknowledging and laughing off your awkwardness instead of trying to ignore it is always better with girls. They usually just think you're funny. Taking a shit in a public bathroom, like a restaurant or bar. The awkwardness is especially true in the US, where stalls have gaps between the doors and floors/ceilings. The design takes away real privacy. It's like that on purpose. Small enough of a gap for privacy, but enough to stop you from doing drugs and sex things. I don't mind the bottom top gap. It's the gap where the door is shut but you can see a sliver of space where the door meets the frame. Like it's complete bullshit, and makes it awkward trying to pointedly look away from it but also wanting to make sure no one is already inside. My worst nightmare is making eye contact through the stall. Seeing someone you haven't seen in a long time and running out of things to talk about within 30 seconds. Similar to walking towards someone you vaguely know and not knowing whether to acknowledge their existence or not. People from school, friends of friends, etc. Who are you? Reaction from him, due to barely knowing him. Yep, when you barely talk to them in normal circumstances, should you talk to them at a large and crowded place full of strangers just because they are a familiar face? It gets even more weird when you're far away from where you normally see them. For example, I visited Thailand in 2014 and someone who I knew from college was also there at the same time. I had connected with him on Facebook sometime earlier, but we almost never talked after our first meeting. However, he was very active on FB, and his traveling to status indicated he was going to the country. I was browsing FB on my phone at a restaurant/bar in Chiang Mai and he indicated he was there too, with a timestamp of just now. I got shocked and glanced around the place, and saw he was sitting at a distant table. I almost wanted to go over and greet a familiar person, but I did not do it, as I was worried about getting a buying condoms. Every fucking time I do it I get stared at. The last time I bought Motrine lotion that apparently was for Jokic and the old lady cashier said big night planned. Fuck, I went to the corner store to buy 2 liters of Coke and a bag of chips. The cashier, wanting to make small talk, said, "Party tonight." I looked at him as if he were an alien. No, this is just a snack. I quickly paid him and shuffled out of the store. I don't like it when cashiers or servers try and make small talk. Just ring up my items and let me pay and get out of here quickly. I think a revolution is needed. I couldn't even fathom a birthday without that stupid song. I just can't think of any way to wean off it without revolt.